folks. Welcome back to the Food for the Faithful channel with this reluctant prophet. It's been a while. And on the theme, along the theme of challenging petty orthodoxies, I have one for my brothers and sisters to consider today. Simply this, that every generation of believer, when faced with social decay and moral apostasy, began to predict that they lived at the end of days. The reason for this is that they looked at the symptoms of the problem mankind was facing rather than at the root cause and its solution. Any fool can know the symptoms of social rot, but it takes insight and wisdom to offer solutions to a world maddened by spiritual confusion. When I was young, I attended an evangelical fellowship in St. Catharines, Ontario. Its preachers stated verbatim that Christ would return within 40 years of Israel becoming a nation again. This arrogant assertion turned them into false prophets. Many today are claiming they know that Christ's return is imminent. Yet even he stated that he didn't know the day nor the hour. We are called to be the salt of this world. If you truly hope in Christ, it is to you that commission is given. The prevailing cultural Marxist social revolution, with its apostate ideology of critical race and queer theory, is designed to destroy humanity's social cohesion, the nuclear family, and the nature of human sexuality. If Christians refuse to get real by addressing this pernicious moral perversity, then the Lord isn't about to remove you from your obligation to stand for his truth in an age of spiritual apostasy. From Matthew 24, verse 36, from the New American Standard Bible. But that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father alone. God is not a gumball machine, nor is he a get-out-of-jail-free card. Neither is life a game of Monopoly. Why is Monopoly so significant to today's topic? Because the game creates nothing, since it merely hoards what already exists into fewer and fewer hands, till only one is left owning all. This defines the dialectical materialism of Marx and Engels in a nutshell. This is the latent and little understood reason for socialism. It believes that life is a zero-sum proposition. This is why it seeks to hoard all things unto itself, while destroying the existing system of production. In contradiction to this apostasy, God is the God of creation, who calls into existence which previously had not existed. This is the very creative nature of God. It stands in opposition to life as a zero-sum proposition. But there is more, for since we are created in his image, we have been created to create. And by our words and actions, we are called to call into existence things which previously did not exist. This makes our living faith the opposite of a zero-sum game. But to create, we must face the challenge of resistance from the enemy, who seeks to destroy the process of creation. Why? Because he hates God's creation itself. Therefore, there can be no escaping our persecution, nor do the scriptures promise such. But where did the idea that God will save us from persecution originate? It is important that we examine the basis of the doctrine of secret rapture, for this secret rapture doctrine was unknown before the 19th century and did not become a pillar doctrine with the evangelicals until the first half of the 20th century. Allow me to clarify that the second coming, written about in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 15 and 22, and 2 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 16 to 17 is biblical. However, I need to address the false doctrine of an unscriptural pre-tribulation secret rapture. The mysterious origins of the secret rapture and the Jesuit order of the Counter-Reformation. In 1590, Francisco Ribera, a Roman Catholic Jesuit, taught futurism, the idea that most of Revelation was about the future rather than about the Catholic Church. He taught that the Antichrist is a single individual who is to come in the distant future. Most Protestant reformers, such as Martin Luther, John Huss, John Wycliffe, John Calvin, and the translators of the King James Bible, firmly believe that the Pope was the Antichrist, since the Antichrist was prophesied to be a false Christ to a fallen apostate church. This is why the papacy claims to have the power to absolve sin, something which Christ alone has done by virtue of the finished work of his cross. What are the keys of the papacy? The silver key symbolizes the power to bind and loose on earth, and the gold key, the power to bind and loose in heaven. The primary emblem of the papacy are these two keys beneath a triregium known as the papal tiara. The Jesuit order was created as part of the Counter-Reformation movement, which the Catholic Church undertook at the Council of Trent in 1545. Jesuit Francisco Ribera was tasked with countering the current belief that the Pope is the office of the Antichrist. The Jesuit Francisco Ribera created futurism to place the Antichrist into the distant future to safeguard the image of the papacy. Manuel Lacunza, a Jesuit priest, invented the rapture. Manuel Lacunza lived from 1731 to 1801. He was a Jesuit priest. Under the Jewish pseudonym Juan Josaphat ben Ezra, wrote an apocalyptic work entitled La Venida del Messias en Gloria y Majestat, or the coming of the Messiah in glory and majesty. The book appeared first in 1811, and in 1827 it was translated into English by the Scottish minister Edward Irving. In 1825, Irving accepted the one-man Antichrist idea of Catholic Jesuit priests Robert Bellarmine and Francisco Ribera. John Nelson Darby, who lived from November 1800 to April of 1882, was an Anglo-Irish Bible teacher, one of the influential figures among the original Plymouth Brethren and the founder of the Exclusive Brethren. He is considered to be the father of modern dispensationalism and futurism. Pre-tribulation rapture theology was popularized extensively in the 1830s by John Nelson Darby and the Plymouth Brethren, and further popularized in the United States in the early 20th century by the wide circulation of the Schofield Reference Bible. Since the Plymouth Brethren were Calvinists, these doctrines spread into the Baptist fellowships, then on to the Pentecostals. During the 1970s, belief in the rapture became popular in wider circles because of the books of Hal Lindsey, including The Late Great Planet Earth, which has reportedly sold between 15 million and 35 million copies, and the movie A Thief in the Night. In 1995, the doctrine of the pre-tribulation rapture became popularized by Tim LaHaye's Left Behind series of books, which sold tens of millions of copies and was made into several movies and a 4 real-time strategy video game. All of this false doctrine exists out of hoping to escape our obligations to be co-creators with God, and out of a desire to escape filling up that which is lacking in Christ's suffering. From Colossians 1, Verse 24 in the New American Standard Bible. Now I rejoice in my sufferings for your sake, and in my flesh I am supplementing what is lacking in Christ's inflictions in behalf of his body, which is the church. So there you have it. No man knows the hour of his coming, but we know this. We are commissioned to remain ever dutiful, on ever dutiful watch, while employed in the business of co-creation. Christ holds the answer to the rebuilding of a godly generation. Today's society is besotted with neo-Marxist apostasy, which causes its adherents to tear down the very foundations of social order, civil harmony, and the nuclear family. But our answer is to be found in Colossians 1, verses 16 to 18 from the New American Standard Bible. Verse 16. For by him all things were created, both in the heavens and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things have been created through him and for him. Verse 17. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. Verse 18. He is the head of the body of his body, the church, and he is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, so that he himself will come to have first place in everything. Therefore Christ is returning for those who love his appearing, and for those who are ushering in his coming by remaining steadfast and ensuring his kingdom comes and his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. From 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 8, the New American Standard Bible. And with this I finish, brethren. 8. In the future there is reserved for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but to all those who have loved his appearing. There's only one place we're going to see Christ appearing today, unless he comes in clouds of glory. And that is in one another. We need to be found about the activity of creating civil order. Our ideas are better than all the deconstructive ideas of the enemy. It is up to us to fight the good fight and to share the truth at every possible opportunity. So these are thoughts to think and pray about today on this May the 4th, when it's on a series birthday, on this city. Gratulere med dagen din. Jeg elsker deg.